Hello, hello, it's Charmaine Hammond here and Joanna Severino with Prepskills. And we are really excited today because we have a very special guest. We have a youth who's going to be talking to us about what is eSports? Where did the name eSports come from? Can you win money in eSports? What are the biggest games right now? And what should young people and parents know about eSports? So I'm going to introduce our guest, Justin Suto, who goes to Sterling Hall School, going into grade 6. And Justin wanted us to know that he really likes video games, plays soccer and basketball in school. So a real team player. And he's going to help us understand a little bit more about this whole eSports world. Welcome to our conversation, Justin and Joanna.
Thank
All right.
you.
Thank you. Looking forward to this. Okay,
Hi.
Justin. Hi, Justin. So I think we should start at what is esports, because there could be people listening that aren't really that familiar with esports. And as you know, because you and I were talking earlier, the whole esports world is a new world for me as well. So when you think about esports, what does that mean?
It kind of means it's like the electronical way of using physical activity, like it's kind of like regular sports but online, which you
Oh,
can
cool.
chat with all your friends online. And
Wow.
usually they host like tournaments on LAN, which means in real life, and like the game would buy a stadium and a bunch of fans would come, and you can like the top of each country or server in the world would compete to get like there was something called the World Cup in Fortnite, which was a prize
Wow.
pool of $10 million, and
Wow.
first place got $3
Wow.
million. So it's technically just an electronical way of regular sports. It's
Wow.
kind of
And
like a
it's
tennis game but online.
online. So the key things that we really want to understand is that it's online, and it also sounds, Justin, like this is quite competitive. There's tournaments, there's prize money for some of these tournaments. And I liked the fact that you said you can interact with your peers. So it's not, I kind of thought originally that esports was something that you do independently, and you're helping me understand that that you're actually interacting with other players.
Yeah.
And when you think about esports, like let's go back in time. How did you get started in this? Who convinced you to get interested in esports, or what kind of drew your interest in all of this?
Well, yeah, like when I was like 5 years old or like 4 years old, we had this Wii U, which there's something called Wii Sports, and it was
Yep.
kind of the same thing, but you would like play like online tennis, and like you could get like this racket and you could swing it, and it would like program into the game where you're swinging it in the game. It's kind of fun, and like there was a bunch of games you could download. It was really fun. And then eventually, when I was around 8 years old, I got like my brother got the PS4 and we shared that for a bit. And then actually, one of my best friends I've known since like when I was like 3 years old introduced me to playing like keyboard games.
Ah.
Because I went to his house and he had like this gaming laptop, and I was just so into it. And I was like, first thing when I got home, I was like, "Do you have any laptops? Can I play video games?" Blah blah blah. Stuff like
Wow.
that.
So you kind of started out with Wii, and then you kept progressing and learning more. Some kind of a special laptop, a gaming laptop or a gaming keyboard or
It
something.
wasn't
Tell us
really
more about what
like
that is.
at the start, it wasn't really like an insane like $1,000-$2,000 gaming setup. It was more like a regular laptop with a
Okay.
with like a mouse, which you have to get used to because you can't just start off with like a $4,000 gaming setup and you'll be really bad at a game, and it's kind of like you're not profiting.
Right.
And when you get really good at the game, or you start making like, I don't know, $30 a tournament, and they host tournaments every day, and if you just keep that same pace, then you want to upgrade to like,
Wow.
then you can get like the best possible setup and probably be the best.
Cool. So it's not just using like your phone, your tablet. You've got to have the right equipment to be able to be competing, is what you're saying. And that as you practice and get
Well,
better, you're
yes,
probably
because you want
upgrading.
to have, yeah,
Yeah. Go ahead.
you kind of want to have like like the best stuff, so then you can, like, let's say there's something called ping, which
Okay.
it's kind of like, let's say I click W on my keyboard
Yeah.
and my ping is 10. It's 10 milliseconds for it to go through the program and tell the game that I clicked W. So if you have zero ping, it's automatic, and which is really hard because you have to live near the servers of the game, and
Wow.
that's why some of the pros move to like the same country of as a server so they can get better ping and just better. And if you have zero ping, it's kind of easy to like steal walls in the game. It's like where you can shoot before the other person, and it's
Wow.
kind of like an advantage against people with higher ping.
Wow.
So having like lower ping is really good.
There's a lot to consider here. It's not just knowing the sport, it's knowing what kind of equipment you need and how to progress that. Now, from your perspective, Justin, you were talking a few minutes ago about prizes, that there's tournaments that have like huge prizes in the million, and there's tournaments that have $30. Tell me more about prizes. And have you ever been in tournaments where they do have prize money?
I compete in some, but like I don't win too, like I haven't won any money. It's just because like in the game Fortnite, there's something called seasons, and like there's season 1, 2, and the beginning, which was season 1, where no one really played the game. Me and my brother, we were like kind of like some of the first people to play the game. Yeah, and like people really like nowadays, people like if they got a skin from before, they would like sell their account for money. But
Wow.
like at the beginning of the game, there was something called like the pump shotgun, which is really original and like everyone likes it. It's something like really, it's not overpowered, it's not really bad, it's kind of in the middle. And they removed it last season, and everyone was really mad. And so that's why like I didn't compete in many tournaments because I was so used to it to
Right.
where I just couldn't play. So they re-added it this season, and I'm planning to like try and compete this season.
Wow. Cool. And I imagine, just like any sport, you've got to be practicing. You can't just kind of get into a
Yeah.
game and figure it out. Like I imagine there's a lot of practice. Is that true, Justin?
Yeah, like yeah, so when you get online, you can't just go into a tournament and expect to win.
Right.
There's something called aim training, which some people use this software called Kovacs, but it costs money, so I don't use it. I just go into creative inside of the game where you can just free build, and
Wow.
you just move around and go into worlds and just aim your train to warm up. But something called Kovacs, where it's like this software on a website called Steam, where you buy it for like $15, and it's kind of like an aim training, which all the pros use, and it really helps your aim. I don't use it. I just use like stuff inside of the game, which it helps. Just a way for me to warm up, and then I can go into a tournament like an hour later and just do good.
Wow. I spend a lot of time on the computer, not on esports and gaming, because I don't know how to do that, but I spend a lot of time on Zoom and other kind of computer platforms. When you're gaming, this is a question I was really curious about. When you're gaming, do you need to take breaks from the screen?
Yeah.
Is it hard
Yes.
on your eyes? I'm really curious on that, because I find
Well,
it is for me.
yesterday I got a really bad headache
Mm,
because it wasn't because I was playing. It was just because like I was looking at the screen for like a really long time, just
yeah,
watching YouTube, and my head just got a headache. Usually I'm so used to it to the point where I just don't get headaches, but this time I got a really bad headache, and I went down, took some Advil, and then I went to sleep, and now I'm fine. It's just
perfect.
like it does get boring when everyone you play with, like all your friends, get offline because usually I play late at night, and all your friends get offline. There's nothing to do because you don't want to play alone. Because like, let's say you hit a really cool shot, you're like,
Yeah.
oh, did anyone see that? And then you realize you're alone, and like,
Oh.
I don't know, it's just kind of annoying because like there's no one to talk to, and yeah.
So you really like that interaction that you
Yeah, like
get
while I'm
with other
playing, and it kind
people.
of boosts my confidence, and I play really well. In
Wow.
solos, where you play alone, I don't do good. And then when I'm playing with like my friends from school, I'll like block like 10 eliminations in a game, which is really good. And
Wow.
yeah, I don't know. I just like talking while playing. I don't know, kind of boost my confidence.
So you kind of answered one of my questions is, does sometimes video games get boring? And it sounds like for you, if you're just on the game on your own, that might be one reason why a video game could be boring. Are there other reasons that video games could become boring?
Sorry, I lagged. Can you
Oh,
repeat that?
you
I had a
betcha.
lag spike.
No problem. I don't even know what that is, but I can absolutely repeat it. So you were
It's
talking
like I
earlier.
lagged. I lagged.
Oh, where the computer got slow. So
On my
sometimes
screen. So.
you said sometimes that video games can be boring, like if you're playing a video game on your own. Are there other reasons why a video game could be boring for someone or for you?
Uh, I don't really think so. It's just maybe you're not doing very well, and you just you. It's not like your day. Like everyone has good days and bad days,
Yeah.
and then you're just not playing really well. That's when I just get off and I start watching YouTube, cause like I don't know, I just don't play good some days, and some days I'm like really good, and I just you know get a bunch of elims in a game, and then in a tournament, and then I just pop off.
Well, that's really good advice for all of us that, when you said we have good days and we have bad days, I think that's a really important statement
Yeah.
because it's so true. And you kind of gave me a really helpful tip there, Justin, when you talked about when it's not such a great day, you might go and do something different like YouTube. And I love that tip because
Yeah.
you're talking about sometimes we need a distraction when things
And
aren't
also,
great.
when people are like, usually people will be playing really bad, but they'll keep on playing. And like, I don't know, I just don't think that's good because then you can like, your hands can build into playing bad, and then you'll just
Mm,
keep on playing bad. So as soon as I realize I'm doing really bad, I'm losing every single game off spawn,
yeah.
I'll just hop off the game, even if I'm just playing with my friends and we finish the game, I will hop off the game and then I'll just take a break, probably
That's
go downstairs.
That's another great tip you shared is the importance of us being self-aware. Like you're able to actually recognize in yourself, okay, enough. I need to go and do something different or take a break from this. I think that's such an important skill. Now, Justin, you play a number of different games. From your perspective, what are some of the biggest esport games kind of right now?
I would have to say, like, these games I used to play with my cousin. There's a game called League of Legends, which was really a really good game. Like last year, I used to play it a bunch. It's more like it's not like it's a really competitive game. It's not meant for like people like my age and younger. It's meant for like 16-year-olds probably and
Okay.
above that, because it's really strategy wise. Because if you mess up one thing, you lose the game. Like
Wow.
it's really strategy, and you have to really think. And like there's objectives in the game which can change the whole game. Like let's say you're losing really bad. There's something called Baron, which is like a dragon you have to fight with your whole team, and if you get it, it boosts everything, and it's really good.
Wow.
And it's really strategy, because like let's say you and your team, or maybe just you, push in, and you don't know that the other team is hiding in a bush on the left. They just jump you. They have a one-man advantage. They push up, they take out your tower, and then they push back. So now they have a tower
Wow.
difference, which can mean the whole game. and it's
Wow.
really strategy. Yeah. There's
That's
all other games called CS:GO, which
mhm.
is more like a first-person shooter game, which like it's not like it's not like your target and you shoot. It's something called recoil, which
Mhm.
even if your dot on the screen is pointing at them, your bullets will go like different ways because like that's what happens in real life. It's called recoil, which
Okay.
it's really realistic.
Wow.
And so like sometimes you have to aim at the ground to shoot them because it's like just the recoil can get really bad sometimes. You have to control your recoil, make sure like it's really realistic.
Wow.
Uh, yeah.
It's interesting for me listening to you talk about this, Justin, because I'm really becoming aware that there's lots of things that play in esports. There's learning the game and practicing and becoming really, really competent at it. There's being able to manage your interactions with your peers and other players. And then there's this strategy piece, and there's a whole language, like a whole vocabulary of esport terminology. So it sounds like there is a lot to learn. Is that a fair statement?
Yeah.
So, and when did you say you started learning about esports? How long's it been for you?
6 years.
Wow. So you've had lots of time to kind of
Yeah.
sink into this. And another question I had was, is esports healthy? What's your take on that?
I wouldn't say it's healthy, but I wouldn't say it's not healthy. It's kind of like in the middle because like obviously it can boost your reaction time, the way you think and stuff like that. But like it's obviously not like good for like your mental health, like your physical health and like stuff like that. Because yeah. But I would say it's like if you can balance your time on the computer and balance it off the computer or whatever you play on, I think it could have a bunch of pros to that. And I would say if you can balance it, it is healthy. If you can't, it's not healthy.
Cool. That's a juicy tip, not only for esports but for life. Is kind of finding that balance so that you keep it all in check. And what if the other question I had here? I think this was the last question I had for you. Is there a way to join? Like, let's say somebody's listening, Justin, and they're thinking, "Wow, this is really interesting for me. I'd like to learn more. Or I want to get involved in esports." Like, what would your recommendation be? How would somebody who hasn't done this get involved or join esports?
Well, like just practice
Mm-hmm.
and put the time and effort in. And if you really think like, let's say you're doing really good. Obviously, if you're on a regular laptop, obviously like if you're winning money, try and boost like bit by bit and save up until you can get something like really good, and then that will improve you by 10 times as much, and you'll be just a lot better. And just keep going until you think like I'm doing really good, and then maybe you should start broadcasting yourself. And organizations like from gaming could bring you in, and you can win money just by just by signing with them. You get money, but they take a
Wow.
percentage out of what you win. So it's kind
Wow.
of like a yeah, but there's also universities that support gaming and like colleges, but
Yeah.
that's stuff like if you're really into the gaming and you like make tons of money off gaming.
Wow. So a person could like really have a big long-term future in this.
Yeah.
Wow. Well, that was extremely enlightening. Now, Joanna, you've been listening to your incredible son and esports expert, Justin. Anything that you wanted to comment on or add or ask Justin more about?
Well, thanks for joining us, Justin. This is really, really helpful to our audience. And I think some of the things that you touched upon here was it seemed to me that there's an entrepreneurial spirit to what you're doing, right?
Yeah.
You talked about certain strategies and skills and objectives. What do you think the top three skills are that you've learned by participating in
Uh
esports?
I think, well, one of the first things is like the way I think and like the way it changes your whole like opinion kind of, and like it can boost like some things like in real life. Like let's say you're playing dodgeball in school, it can add to your reaction time, like to maybe dodge a ball or something like that.
Mm.
It can also boost like your math skills because in game it's not just like playing video games. It's just like sometimes there's math involved where like let's say you hit someone for 30 damage but you don't know how much health they have in total. You could take that because they have shield and health. You can take that, and as soon as you see them crack their shield, you'll know like maybe, oh wait, maybe they had 50 shield and I hit them once for 31. They'll be down to like 88 health, and now you can just push in, and if you pull out your shotgun and you hit them once, they'll be done. So it's kind of
Wow.
like math
Wow.
involved
Wow,
and
that's the
skill to
and you
like
you
move in
talked about.
and move out.
Okay, great. You talked about how you prefer the team environment of the game, perhaps more so than the individual aspect of
Yeah,
playing the game. But is there a place for both? Like, if I was the type of person that wanted to play as an individual versus a team environment, is there a place for both?
Uh, yeah. So there's like tons of games where it's like solo player. There's this game called, well, most games you have to work as a team, but like you can solo out of your team and like pick off one of their team and then move in with your team. So like that's what you call a pick, and then you'll tell your teammates, I gotta pick, move in, and then like you'll kind of have the advantage and you'll use more space on the map, and
Mhm.
that's a game called Valorant, where it's really strategy and like it's kind of like CS:GO where there's recoil, but it's not as like bad as a CS:GO recoil because
Mm.
it's more controlled.
And I
Uh,
understand, and I
yeah, but
understand that you had the opportunity to meet individuals from a gaming company. Is that right, in San
yeah.
Francisco? And what
Yeah,
was that?
so when we went to San Francisco, like the company that made Fortnite and makes like a bunch of other games, we kind of like no one else knew because all I heard was like they asked for a table they reserved and they called it Epic, and the company that owns it was like it called Epic Games. So I was kind of like maybe that could be them, and then my dad's like, no, it's not them, it's just like a coincidence, maybe someone's named Epic, and I'm like, who names their child Epic? Let's just check. And then I asked and they're like, yeah. And yeah, my dad was, I was 8, wasn't 9 or 8, but yeah, they my dad got into contact with like the programmers, the people who like the designers of like the clothing and stuff like that, and they got us a few shirts for like me, my
Cool.
brothers, and my cousins.
That's
So
Wow.
it was
great.
really cool.
Now, Justin, Charmaine and I are really learning about this new area, and we have an esports summit coming up on October 15th. And that's because so many students and families want to learn about this area. And in particular, students who are probably at the high school level that may be considering esports for post-secondary education. And a lot of the colleges in the United States, for example, will offer varsity esports programs. So you can actually apply to these schools and maybe get a scholarship as a result of being admitted. What do you think about that? Do you think we should go to school for esports?
Pardon, sorry, I lagged.
Do you think we should go to school for esports? Does that sound like an interesting
Uh,
plan
it,
for
it could
students?
be like in consideration, but like if you're not like doing really well and you just want to do it for fun, I wouldn't consider it. But like it's like if you're like the best of the best and you're making like $1,000 a week off the game, then I would consider it. But like if you're just like making like $0 or like $10 every month, then like I would consider it, probably pursue like something really like in life, and like maybe like lawyer or something like that.
They like to talk a lot too, don't they, sometimes? Just like you do. That's great. And so you think for students in high school who might want to go to American universities and be a part of their eSports team and program and maybe get a scholarship to study in the United States, like, does that sound like a good viable opportunity? Do you think that they should maybe complement that with a sports management degree, for example?
Well, like there's like websites called like Twitch and like Mixer and stuff like that where you can broadcast yourself playing a game, and if you get a bunch of viewers, like maybe an organization, or you'll be noticed by the community, and like you could get a scholarship off that. But like that's if you're like really good at the game, and like you do very well in every tournament. Like there's some people like Clicks, the streamer who plays Fortnite, he averages 20,000 viewers every stream, every day. So like that's got him into like the best organization in the world called NRG, where they have their own gaming house where they bought, like the whole team bought a house in like I don't know where, I think California, and it's just yeah. So you
Wow,
can real
that
benefit
seems
of
exciting.
sports.
Yeah.
Charmaine?
Wow, this has just been really great, Justin. You've done a tremendous job at helping us understand what is esports. Can it be a future for you? What's important? What are some of the popular games? Is it healthy for you? And a whole bunch more information. I really appreciate that. And you know, we're seeing, as Joanna said, you know, we're seeing that there's a lot of interest in esports, and lots of moms and dads who want to better understand what esports is and how their child is engaged. So I really appreciate you sharing kind of some of that insider information on it. Is there anything, Justin, that you think we've missed that you wanted to add to the conversation?
Not really. Oh, I
Covered
think I
lots.
covered everything.
Yeah, you did. You covered. Oh, I actually had a question quickly. I saw, I was recently on a webinar, listening to a webinar, and there was a person on the webinar who had a really cool chair. And then in the chat box, they were typing that, oh, it's their gaming chair. Is there actual like
Yeah.
special furniture for gaming too?
Yeah, so there's my brother has a gaming chair. Mine is just a regular chair with like a cushion on the back.
Yeah.
I got it like 2 years ago. It's really good. But usually a gaming chair would have like, instead of like a regular like handle,
Yeah.
it would have like foam around it, and it would be really tall, and it's like kind of used to like relax your back, because like
Right.
I kind of like sit like this sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And my back, like when I'm done gaming, I just stretch my back like that a lot.
Yeah.
And yeah, so his chair is it's really tall. It's probably like that tall.
Yeah.
And like it has like a rest for your head where you can move and to adjust for your height. And yeah, it's like really big. It has wheels that you can move around.
So really designed for comfort and for health, and if you're spending a lot of time
like,
sitting.
Yeah, you can adjust like where it is. It's kind of like a card chair, but like more like cushioned and everything.
I feel like I need to go buy one of those chairs, Joanna. Joanna, was there anything else you wanted to add or ask to the conversation?
Well, what do you think, Justin? What's your final tip for anyone listening or viewing this today?
If you truly believe that you can do well and earn a bunch of money, then just go for it. And yeah.
Great.
Go for it.
Go for it. And
Yes.
Show us the back of your shirt. Final
Yes.
final tip here. What does that say?
This is like an organization called Misfits.
Okay.
It's like an organization for gaming, which the guy named Click used to be for, but then he switched teams. But so what it says, it's kind of like a way of saying you're really good. It's not an insult; it's just a way of saying you're really good.
Okay. You're
And
really
then it's
good.
kind of backwards because the camera
Okay.
isn't
I
really
can
Kraken.
see
good.
it. Oh, you're
Yep.
really good. You're cracked. Cracked means you're really good.
And then it has a
Interesting.
bunch of companies on it because they sponsor. So it
Right.
has like their logo here. It has like Alienware over here, which is a company where it's for most like gaming. There's yeah, another Alienware. It's kind of like they just sponsor.
Yep.
So then like let's say someone from the team is streaming on like Twitch, they'll have like mini like pop-ups on their screen for like the company, maybe in the top right, top left, stuff like
Wow.
that.
Wow. So a lot of similarities between sort of an athletic sports tournament where they have sponsors displayed. Same thing in the esports
Yeah.
world. Interesting. Well, you are, and so the word was cracked. Is that what the word was? It means you're really good. You are cracked, Justin. Well, I really thank you for joining us today and sharing your insights with us, helping us better understand the world of esports. We're really excited for the upcoming esports summit on October 15th. Watch for information coming out from Prepskills and US College Expo, and hope to see you there. It'll be a great conversation and lots more to talk about with esports.
Thanks, Justin.
Thanks, Justin.